Hey Reddit, my life has been a whirlwind of emotional turmoil for the past few months, and while things are finally starting to look up, I keep replaying that one disastrous dinner in my head. I'm Maya, 27F. My fiancé is Max, 29M, and we've been together for 3 incredible years. He's kind, funny, incredibly supportive, and truly my best friend. We live in a cozy apartment, and honestly, our life together is everything I ever wanted. The only snag in our otherwise perfect relationship has always been, well, his mother. My future MIL, Astrid, 50SF. Max's family lives in Germany, and ours is here in the States. So, for most of our relationship, my interactions with his parents have been limited to video calls. From the very beginning, I felt like Astrid was sizing me up. Her comments were never overtly nasty, but they always had a subtle, judgmental edge. If I'd wear something form-fitting, she'd remark, "Oh, that's brave, dear." Or if I mentioned enjoying a meal, she'd say, "You must be careful, American food is so rich, isn't it? Very easy to put on weight." I'm a pretty average size, maybe a little curvy, but healthy. Her comments, however, made me constantly self-conscious. Max always reassured me. "Oh, Mom doesn't mean anything by it, Maya. She's just German. Very direct. She'll warm up to you once she meets you in person." I wanted to believe him, but the tension from those calls always lingered. Fast forward 3 years, and Max and I were happily engaged. The plan was for his parents, Astrid and Klaus, 50SM, and his sister, Freya, 33F, to fly over for a month-long visit. This would be my first time meeting them in person, and a crucial step towards blending our families before the wedding. I was a nervous wreck, to be honest. The constant subtle criticisms from Astrid over video calls had chipped away at my confidence, despite Max's reassurances. He was incredibly excited, planning a detailed itinerary filled with sightseeing, family outings, and culminating in a special dinner at our apartment where I would cook a traditional German meal for them. He truly believed that once his family saw us together, saw me in person, everything would click. I, however, was in full panic mode. I went to extreme lengths to prepare. I deep-cleaned every inch of our apartment until it sparkled. I bought new dishes, fresh linens, and even rearranged furniture to make the place feel more spacious and welcoming. I spent hours practicing basic German phrases, Guten Tag, wie geht es Ihnen, vielen Dank, hoping to impress them. I even bought a new outfit, something flattering but modest, trying to strike that impossible balance of respectful and stylish. I wanted so desperately for this meeting to go well, for Astrid to finally see me as a worthy future daughter-in-law. The evening of the dinner started deceptively well. They arrived, and there were initial pleasantries, lots of smiles, and polite conversation. Astrid, in person, seemed warmer, less severe than on video. Klaus was kind and quietly observant. Freya was friendly and engaging. I actually felt a flicker of hope. As we sat down to eat the German meal I had painstakingly prepared, sauerbraten, rotkohl, spätzle, everyone seemed to enjoy it. The conversation flowed easily for a while, light and cheerful. We were talking about wedding plans, discussing dress styles, and venues. Astrid smiled, then her eyes lingered on my midsection. "Of course," she said, her voice casual, but cutting through the cheerful chatter like a knife, "before the wedding, you will need to go on a very strict diet, Maya. You are, how do you say, borderline obese. We cannot have you embarrassing Max's family in the wedding photos." The entire table went silent. My fork clattered against my plate. My heart stopped. My mouth went dry. Borderline obese? Embarrassing Max's family? In my own home, after all my effort? I felt my face flush crimson. The warmth I'd felt minutes before evaporated, replaced by a cold, stinging humiliation. I looked at Max, whose face had gone pale with shock and then quickly flushed with anger. He slammed his own fork down, making everyone jump. "Mom," he roared, his voice shaking with a fury I rarely saw from him. "What is wrong with you? How dare you say something like that? That is completely out of line and incredibly rude." Astrid, unperturbed, merely raised an eyebrow. "Max, I am only speaking the truth. It is for her own good. And for the family's honor. We are a slender family. We take care of ourselves. You are insulting my fiancée in her own home." Max shot back, pushing back his chair. You have no right to comment on her body, especially not like that. This is completely unacceptable. Klaus, who had been sitting silently, his face turning a deeper shade of red with each exchange, finally spoke, his voice low and strained. Astrid, he said, that is quite enough. Your behavior is unacceptable. He looked at me, a flicker of apology in his eyes, then at his wife with a look of profound disappointment. I apologize, Maya. This is out of line. Then, to everyone's shock, he pushed his chair back violently, stood up, and without another word, walked out of the dining room and out of our apartment, slamming the front door behind him. The silence that followed was deafening. Astrid stared at the door, stunned by Klaus's unexpected departure. Freya looked horrified, her eyes darting between her parents, me, and Max. I just sat there, frozen, tears stinging my eyes, feeling utterly attacked and humiliated in what was supposed to be my safe space. The beautiful dinner I had prepared felt like ashes in my mouth. The dinner was, predictably, over. Astrid eventually retreated to the guest room, fuming. Freya, my future SIL, immediately turned to me. Lily, she said, her voice urgent, you have to apologize to Mom. You know how she is. She just speaks her mind. You need to smooth this over. She's Max's mother, after all. It's your duty as future daughter-in-law to mend this. I stared at her, dumbfounded. Apologize? Freya, she called me borderline obese and shamed me in my own home. Why would I apologize for being insulted? But it's her first visit. Freya pleaded. And Dad just left. It's a huge mess. You need to be the bigger person. Max, who had been comforting me, stepped in. No, Freya. Maya is not apologizing. Mom was completely out of line. She needs to apologize to Maya. And to Dad. Freya sighed in frustration, clearly not getting it. She spent the rest of the night trying to mediate, getting nowhere. I felt hurt, confused, and utterly exhausted. The joy of my engagement, the excitement of finally meeting Max's family, was completely overshadowed by this public humiliation. In the days that followed, Klaus did not return to our apartment. He was staying in a hotel. Astrid was cold, aloof, still refusing to acknowledge her wrongdoing. Freya continued to pressure both Max and me, constantly reminding us that we were ruining the family visit. During this tumultuous time, Max opened up to me in a way he never had before. He confessed that his mother's obsession with weight and food wasn't new, it had been a constant presence throughout his entire childhood. She had subjected him and Freya to strict diets from a young age, constantly commenting on their bodies, scrutinizing every meal. He revealed that he had struggled with disordered eating patterns and body image issues for years because of her. He'd meticulously counted calories, exercised compulsively, and developed a deep-seated anxiety around food, all to avoid her criticism. This revelation was heartbreaking. It helped me understand why Max had reacted so fiercely at the dinner. It wasn't just about defending me, it was about protecting me from the same lifelong trauma he had endured. It also solidified my resolve. Astrid's behavior was deeply ingrained and toxic. This wasn't a one-off, direct German comment. This was a fundamental, harmful pattern, and we needed to set firm boundaries, not just for me, but for Max's own healing. A few days later, Klaus started visiting us regularly at our apartment. He looked haggard, deeply troubled. He didn't come to defend Astrid, he came to apologize, repeatedly and sincerely, for her behavior and for his own past inaction. He confessed that he had tolerated Astrid's controlling and critical nature for decades, leading to a strained and unhappy marriage. He acknowledged that her comments about weight were a lifelong issue, a way she asserted control, and that she had inflicted similar pain on him and their children. He told us he was seriously considering a separation if Astrid didn't get help. His apologies were genuine, and it helped me see that not all of Max's family was complicit in Astrid's toxicity. Freya, meanwhile, continued her relentless campaign, pressuring Max to convince me to apologize, framing it as the only way to save the family. Max, armed with his new clarity, stood firm. No, Freya. Mom needs to apologize. She needs to get help. We are not enabling her anymore. After a solid month of tension, silence from Astrid, and the unspoken threat of Klaus potentially leaving her, something shifted. We received a video call request from Astrid. Both Max and I were wary, bracing ourselves for another round of blame or manipulation. but this time it was different. Astrid's face, though still strained, was softer. She didn't immediately start accusing. She began, hesitantly, by apologizing. Not just a forced "I'm sorry you feel that way," but a genuine "I am truly sorry for the hurtful things I said to you, Maya. And for how I behaved at dinner. It was wrong, and I was out of line." Then, she confessed that Klaus had told her he was considering leaving, and that Freya had shared some harsh truths about how her comments had affected them, especially Max. She admitted that she had recognized her own issues, particularly her obsession with weight and control, and that she had already scheduled an appointment with a therapist. She said she truly wanted to change, to be a better wife, a better mother, and a better future mother-in-law. It was shocking. It felt real. The genuine remorse, the admission of fault, the commitment to counseling, it was everything we had hoped for, but never truly expected. The healing process won't be quick or easy. Years of ingrained behavior won't disappear overnight. But Max and I decided to give Astrid a chance to prove her commitment to change. We agreed to maintain clear boundaries, and that her therapy was a non-negotiable condition for her to be actively involved in our lives. We also made it clear that any future hurtful comments would lead to immediate consequences, including limited contact. As a gesture of our cautious hope, we sent her a formal wedding invitation. We're hoping for a healthier, more respectful family dynamic moving forward. Freya, seeing Astrid's genuine shift and witnessing Klaus's unwavering stance, also reached out to me. She apologized sincerely for her own attempts to pressure me into apologizing, admitting she was just trying to keep the peace and realizing now it was at my expense. She expressed a desire to build a truly supportive sister-in-law relationship, free from the old patterns. It felt genuine, and I welcomed it.